Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. In today's video, let's do another loose sketch together. I will guide you step by step from sketching to coloring. If you are new to this, I suggest sketching the building on the left to keep the drawing simple and less overwhelming. Let's not stress out how our drawings will turn out. Take it easy, relax, and enjoy the process. A big thank you to Ohuhu for making today's video possible. I want to share with you their marker organizers. I've tried many marker organizers before, but I didn't find the right one until I discovered the Ohuhu ones a few months ago. Each organizer can hold 126 Honolulu series markers and an equal number of Kaala series markers. They are made of eco-friendly bamboo material and require no assembly. I like that each row keeps the markers separate, so when I pull one marker out, it doesn't drag others and cause them to fall out. It is very sturdy, so you can easily stack them. You can find all the art supply links in the description box. For this drawing, I'll be using a reference photo, but I will be loosely following it and making lots of changes. You can find the photo link in the description box. As I mentioned earlier, feel free to only draw the building on the left side for a simpler process. Let's mark dots on each corner of the rectangle shape to pinpoint the building's position. When sketching lines, try to draw one smooth line instead of drawing many little lines and connecting them. This helps us practicing our hand movement for line work later. It also makes our outline neat and easy to see or erase later. Avoid making your entire drawing too small or too big. I've decided to narrow the left side building and make the right side building much shorter to make the composition more interesting. Sketch a large dot at the lower center part of the left side building. This will serve as a vanishing point. Connect it to the corner of the right side of the building to draw the side. If you are not familiar with one-point perspective, don't worry, it's simple. Follow my steps here. I will simplify the process and provide graphics to illustrate when and how to use the vanishing point. If you are interested in more detailed practice, I've created another tutorial with a link provided in the upper right corner and in the description. Our focus is on drawing the major outlines of each element of the building, such as the door frame and the window frame. Try to avoid sketching small details at this stage, as we will make several changes while outlining the major elements. This drawing isn't meant to be an exact duplicate of the reference photo, so you will notice many differences. Feel free to add or change things to your liking if you feel comfortable doing so. For the window wall on the second floor, we will use the vanishing point again. Here I've outlined which line to connect to the vanishing point so you can easily follow along. I've made the pencil outline darker to make it more visible on camera. However, it's best to keep it light so it's easier to make changes and erase later. If you are having trouble seeing the pencil outline, I recommend checking out the second chapter of the inkwork part for reference. I want to show you my outlining process and let you know that your pencil outline doesn't need to be perfect in one try. I make many changes as I sketch to adjust the composition. Once we have completed the major frames, step back and take a look at the overall composition of your drawing. Make sure the buildings are straight and roughly centered on the paper. Now we can continue sketching out some details like the thickness of the window and door frames. In my other tutorial, I will aim to make the pencil outline as detailed as possible. But in this one, I encourage myself to keep it less detailed. I want to create a loose drawing, so I don't want to get caught up in too many small details. Just some essential lines are enough. I will sketch the vines again later. Right now, I just want to doodle something as a placeholder to create a rough form. You might be familiar with the marks I use to mimic the shape of the leaves. One of the challenging parts of drawing crawling plants is achieving a natural and asymmetrical form. I want them to look organic and not cover the entire building like in the picture. Once you finish the pencil outline, be sure to take a short break. Put your drawing farther away to check if the overall composition is balanced before moving to the next step. Before we dive into the ink work, let's warm up a bit to loosen up our hand movement. You can practice on a blank piece of paper by drawing some basic lines. Alternatively, if you have tracing paper, you can overlay it on top of your pencil outline and use a pen to trace it. We discussed line styles in detail in my previous video, which I will link in the description and the upper right corner. In this drawing, I'm going for a relaxed style. Right now, I'm drawing quickly to not stress about being perfect and to welcome little mistakes. It helps me move my hand more freely and it into a smooth flow. But don't hesitate to change your drawing speed when you practice. As you can see, none of the lines are perfect, but they are consistently loose and bold, resulting in a balanced look when combined. Now when you are ready, let's begin the ink work. I'm using a size 5 pen, which is 0.45mm, slightly thicker than my Euro preference. If you are feeling a bit nervous, you are not alone. I always feel a bit jittery during the first few minutes of line work, fearing I might make mistakes and have to start over. For instance, after drawing this window, I felt the line was too thick because I was moving too slowly. It bothered me initially, but I reminded myself to push through, knowing that this tiny mistake wouldn't be noticeable once the drawing is complete. Sometimes I intentionally shake my hand to add curves to straight lines. It's something I don't usually do in my other drawings, but in this video, I'm stepping out my comfort zone and changing my habits a bit to find inspiration. I use a very light pressure on the paper to create thinner lines. In areas like the main frame of the house or objects closer to the foreground, I increase the pressure and slow down a bit to draw thicker lines. If you prefer, you can switch pen sizes to create different line weights. The middle of the process is quite calming. Things start coming together and imperfections fade away. Just relax your mind and hand and trust yourself. You got this. Well done with the line work, everyone. Now let the ink dry before erasing it. The thicker the pen, the longer it will take to dry. In the meantime, take a short break and grab some water. Then come back to outline the vines. Now that the building sketches are pretty much done, I'm going to redo the vines to improve their forms. I won't draw them exactly like in the photo. I like to give them a fluffier appearance. We have two major groups of vines, one on the left and one on the right. I knew that one important thing is to use the same type of marks to draw both groups. It will make a more cohesive look. However, I want to try using different types of marks to see how it actually looks. So I used curved and round ones on the left vines, pointy marks for the right side vines. Spoiler alert, after coloring, it actually made the drawing look just a little messy. But at the same time, the different marks used for each group of vines did not significantly affect their appearance when the same coloring technique was applied later on. So in general, I actually recommend using the same marks for both groups of vines. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't give it a try. Regardless of my advice, feel free to explore your own ways to draw and let me know how it goes. We can learn from each other. To outline the plants, I decided to switch to a thinner pen. It is totally optional. Based on the final results, I don't think changing to a thinner pen is necessary because the ink kind of fades away once we add colors, so I had to go back to enhance the outline a little. Congratulations on finishing the outline. Now let's dive into the coloring part. I've listed some basic colors you will need in the first slide of this chapter. You can check the detailed color numbers in the description. Keep in mind, as I always try to emphasize, you don't need too many colors. Recreating a drawing is different from starting from scratch. If I were to do this drawing a second time, I would use fewer colors. Many of colors I use are just for testing purpose to see how they look, but they are not necessarily essential to the drawing. So don't feel discouraged if you don't have many colors. Focus on controlling your speed and pressure to create a range of values. Like what I'm doing here with the green color, I apply light pressure and move quickly to establish a basic light value. Then add pressure to the bottom part of the vines to create darker values. Moving on to the body of the building, I use vertical strokes on the vertical surface most of the time. However, under the roof, I use both horizontal and vertical strokes to add shadow. To give the building a more rustic texture, we can draw back and forth to blend ink in some areas to make it darker. In real life, window glass often does not appear blue. Its color varies depending on the weather, surrounding objects, and the angle of the buildings. However, let's use some blue to add some vibrance here. Feel free to use colors that attract you. Your style will develop naturally without you actively seeking it. When shading the body of the building, we are focusing on shadowed areas under the roof and sunshade. I'm gradually darkening these shadows to increase the contrast. I'm doing this slowly to avoid adding too much dark value. I'm not confident when coloring the vines. I'm very hesitant about the stroke directions and styles. In general, I think smaller sized strokes are better here to give the vines a dense look. Occasionally, I add some strokes with a small curve to make the vines look more fluffy. So if you are struggling in some areas, don't give up yet. The process of learning is not always comfortable. We feel uncomfortable when we are learning something new. Trust the process, and I promise the final result will be better than you imagine. We now have mid-tone and light values in this drawing. And before we continue adding dark values, let's go back to using the pen to add more details. Keep in mind that line work at some point also contribute to the dark values and can enhance the contrast in our drawing. I still added too much on the right side of the building. Making mistakes like this is inevitable, and it's totally okay. I was very bummed by this part, but I need to remind myself it's just part of the fun of freehand drawing. You never know what's gonna happen next. Currently, the overall colors are very pale and low in saturation. I want to use some vibrant colors to increase the vibrancy of the drawing. I'm trying to deepen the shadow areas more by using the black brush pen, but it kind of stands out too much. Perhaps next time using a dark gray first will be helpful. Highlighting is not necessarily the last step of the drawing. Sometimes adding them a little earlier can help us assess the drawing better. Adding highlights extends the range of values in the drawing and can help us decide if the darkest area are dark enough yet. From here, I will continue adding some dark values to the vines under the shadow and decorative colors around the house. I was a little concerned in the middle of the coloring process and wasn't sure if I could carry through to the end, but I'm quite happy with the final result. There are definitely many areas for improvement, but I'm proud of us for sticking to it and finishing. I hope you enjoyed this video and had a relaxing time. Thank you so much for watching and keeping me company. Let me know how your drawing went and what challenges you encountered. I would love to hear about your journey. I will see you in the next video.